Okay.
Hey there. Hi, Saffron. Hi. So lovely to meet you live. To see you in person, to be able to talk with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, as you know, I've been doing talks, interviews with a lot of men and women, you know, from all over the world the last couple of weeks since the beginning of December, and it's been so inspiring to hear people's messages, you know, like I just notice how every single person has their special gifts and their reason why they are doing what they're doing, what they're passionate about, what brings them joy, what ignites that feeling of love, you know. So we've been connected for a while, just via Facebook, but never had a real talk conversation with each other. So I am really looking forward to hearing about you and your story and the things that you do in life.
Yeah.
So I am all ears.
All ears. Okay. Okay, you want me to we'll talk about my journey and how I got on to.
Yeah, share whatever's coming up for you, whatever's coming up for you in this moment that you would like to share.
Well, I think that like a lot of people now, we're all navigating towards each other. So it was really lovely that you reached out and, you know, we organized this interview. So you might hear my cat in the background. Apologies.
I'm used to the pets and things taking
they
part.
Always, yes. They always come in whenever you're doing things. But yeah, like so, like what I've been feeling, like, you know, that this year, especially 2022, that a lot of us are all coming together now. It's amazing because I feel like last year there was a whole big swoop and there was a lot of clearing and stuff that happened with different soul groups. And, you know, a lot of us almost had to go into this little cocoon. And it was like these different waves of like consciousness coming through last year. You know, there was like the leaders and the activists that were all out there and they were, you know, this is what's happening and this is what's going on. And then a lot of us, like myself and stuff, were quite silent in observing what was going on, but in the background, really bringing in these codes of consciousness, because that's what I do. I've been doing that from 2011. I first started to talk the light language in the first year of my spiritual awakening. I didn't know what it was. So, and I know that you bring it through as well. And I know that you bring through beautiful arts and stuff. That's something that I can't do yet, but I talk it. But yeah, like I really feel that, you know, from then that this language that's coming through, and it's beautiful because it's starting to come through everyone. And back then it was very few people spoken. Yeah.
That's true. And not even that long ago. I mean, I remember for me, it was like in 2016, beginning 2017, when it also like spontaneously came to life, you know, within me. And it felt at that time like pretty lonely.
Yeah.
And until I started going around and doing events and everything, and then you know, more people were activating, you know, their own authentic light language, and then all of a sudden there was this whole network, you know. So
it just exploded. And like back then in 2011, you know, my awakening came through going to see like an angel reader, because I had suffered my whole life. I'd suffered depression. Wow. And it was through my aunt. She had said, you know, come and see this angel reader. You know, and she'll give you this beautiful healing. And back then I was not spiritual. It wasn't something I was into. My cat's trying to drink my tea.
Oh, really?
It wasn't something I was into, but whenever I went to this angel reader, I'll never forget it. She just says to me, Saffron, do you know what you're down here to do? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady.
Lady.
I don't feel like I even want to be on this planet. And you're telling me that I'm down here to do things.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'll never forget that day, because she says to me, you're from the ministry of God and you're coming down and this is what you're down here to do. And so like every weekend I would have went to her angel classes. It was a beautiful angel meditation. That was how I first started like coming into my own spirituality, was through like working with the angels. And every week, like I could feel there was a change in me. There was something changing, like the depression was leaving. There was almost like a sense of purpose. There was something building inside, and it was like, it was building and building and building to the point where I then realized I'm actually here for a big purpose.
Yeah. Like
there's a mission here for me. I don't know what that mission is, but it's here. And so that next year was quite a lonely process, in the sense of whenever I literally opened like a Pandora box. I went to a few spiritual teachers. They didn't know what to do with me, because their style back then of spirituality, especially in Northern Ireland, was all around mediumship.
Mediumship,
you know, so it was like you went to like circles and they were bringing through spirit, but I was bringing through galactic beings. I was bringing through, you know, ETs, and I was talking to everyone's spirit guides. I wasn't talking to your granny or and I could see like they were getting quite frustrated, because that wasn't the protocol.
You
know?
This is what we do. We talk to, you know, people like who have passed away, not to intergalactic beings.
Not to you know. And so that was quite an interesting process. And so I was ever only in those circles for a few weeks at a time, and then I was taken back out again. And so then it was it was just the start of 2012, January 2012. I was then told to basically go in and step away from those classes and those people. And so then it was almost like about 7-8 months, I was in my home here in Belfast, and it was quite a lonely process. And that's when the language really started to come. And I was communicating with the Galactic Federation of Light. I had no clue who they were back then. They were coming through and giving me this information about what was going to happen to Earth. And they told me, Saffron, there's going to be a split, and there's going to be a world within a world.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, you're part of the soul group that has come down to create that split and to kind of, you know, the emergence of a new world. And I didn't speak to anyone about this. I was completely on my own with this, especially the language, because, you know, there was very few people that spoke it. And then whenever I came on Facebook really in a big way, like, you know, started to kind of connect with different people all over the world, then I started to see that there was a couple of people starting to come in with this language, you know, and then I started to understand and go, okay, so this actually is real. This isn't like just babble that you're speaking. This is like other people are bringing through this language too. And it's like, then I started, and what actually happened, the more that I was speaking it for myself, the more I was healing, and the more of a cellular healing that was happening, and the throat chakra started to open, and the crown started to open. And then I started to realize, okay, so whenever I'm speaking this, it's a soul call. I'm sending out a soul call to my star family, and also to my soul family that has come back to incarnate.
That is incarnated, yeah.
Yeah. You know, so and that to me, the more that you are connecting with those people like yourself, and there's other Dutch people that I know and stuff, and I've met them over the years. It's like you feel alive inside, because someone that's walked a very lonely path, and then whenever you navigate towards one of your soul tribe, it's like that purpose that you really feel. And I feel it so deeply, because I've come in with the 2nd and 6th ray, which is the rays of service, and it's the ray of the divine feminine. So those rays are really, really come through me. And no matter what's happened in my life, I've always stayed on this path, like really stayed on it, to the point where, and there's been a lot of things that's happened that should have knocked me off that path, but it's just something inside you. You have to maintain it, and you have to go, we're down here to do something.
You have to be you have to be true to it. You reach a point where you can't deny it anymore. You can't do anything else, and you don't want anything else than to be true to your the purpose that's moving
and
you.
You don't ever get away from it. I've walked with a lot of women. I've guided, I've been a spiritual teacher and stuff to a lot of people, and they say, oh, this is too hard. It's too hard to stay on this path. It's so difficult. I don't think I want to be here. I don't want to do this path. This is all of this healing and all of the things that we have to do. And I always laugh, because I always say that once you're on this path, you can't leave it. You can't go back. Once you open, you can't go back. So it's like, and some of us, well, a lot of us will always navigate back onto this path, because that's what we're down here to do.
I read something. Let me see. I have it here. A sentence, something that I read of yours recently, and I think it links in with what you're saying. That your service and being part of what was it? Something of God, what the angel woman told you.
Oh, like ministry of God.
Ministry, yeah. So, you said, I believe in the power of unified souls who have come on a mission to help free humanity from slavery.
Yeah. And that is what's happening now. And that's why so many of us are waking up to what we're meant to do. And 2022 is the year of leadership. It's it's the year of really stepping forward. What I'm noticing, and I work with a lot of women, is we've had these past incarnations, and we could have been witches, or we could have been priestesses, or we've had lives where, one of my earliest, way back then, past life regressions, and this literally happened in the bath through breath work, was me writing scriptures like a Bible, and being around Mary Magdalene and being part of the Assays, and I received like a full download of what that was. But I also received what we had to do was go underground with a lot of those teachings, and so like we do have that, some of us have that like unconscious fear of being able to come out and really step into those leadership roles. And that goes right across many timelines for many women. And this is what we're really needing to break through right now. So, and I need to break through it too, but it's happening. It's happening. We have to step out now and be those way showers for the mission.
Yes. So tell me about your vision about the slavery of humanity. It's like, in what way would you say humanity is enslaved?
Well, for me, it's because they're disconnected from their God source.
Mm.
And so, you know, whenever I see it, I see many veils over their consciousness.
Yeah.
And some of those veils have been placed on by other forces. And there's also veils that they've unconsciously placed on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always a breaking down and a layer of layer. And it's just, to me, it's like whenever I work with women, I see them shrouded with cloaks. And it's like each code that I bring through in a transmission and through my work of the goddess codes, it's like a veil is removed and a veil is removed. And it's almost like a ceremony of like a wedding. You know, you'll see the bride and she lifts her veil.
Yes.
It to me, and it's very like that. And it's whenever she starts to connect with her goddess self and her God source.
Yes.
And that's the marriage to, you know, and the inner marriage starts happening, and it's our marriage to God, to God's source. You know, I'm not religious in any way, but I do believe that there is a Christ energy.
Yes.
How I see that is through angels and Mother Mary, and I see that in a very, very goddess light. But yeah, that's what I see, and that's what I see for humanity. It's like they have been enslaved through the disconnect from their God source.
Yeah. So they become the slaves of fear, basically, right?
Yeah, the state of fear.
Yeah.
And that's a huge breaking down process, because, you know, and that's going to go on. I feel that's going to go on for many years. Like my spirit guides have got me, they've given me a timeline of 2030. Things are really going to start. We're really, all of those ones that all of the, you know, the foot soldiers all around the planet are really going to start seeing, you know, the fruits of their labor, of their service starting to be shown around 2030. So we've still got a wee while to go.
Yeah. So tell me, what does the freedom of humanity look like?
The freedom of humanity looks like, to me, whenever they're not separated from their God source, whenever they can live. I remember reading, I was writing, you know, a part for this, my new course that's coming in February, and I had connected to the star elders, and they have shown me a vision of what will happen in Uluwatu, which is the solar plexus of the earth, which is, you know, which is where the fear, which is the separation, it's the bridgeway between the lower and the higher chakras.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they says was that they have came to earth and they have observed how we're so disconnected from our abundance and our ability to manifest the lives that we want at any given moment, and manifest the freedom, you know, where they can freely move where they want to move to. You know, we can see that now, how we're all like restricted. We can see that, but that, if you look at the inner, it's the restrictions that's going on inside of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, so it's not out there, it's inside, you know. So
yeah, absolutely. And exactly that was one of the things that really hit me most, you know, when there was so much suffering around the lockdowns in the outer worlds. And I was like, but do you realize that before even this even came to be, how many lockdowns we experienced, maybe not even without seeing it that way, within our own selves, you know?
Yeah. And that, you know, and if you want to talk about quantum realities and timelines and stuff, and this is where in the work that I do, I go right across the timelines. I was never trained as a quantum healer or anything, but I just know how to do it. It was one of the things that just came. Most of what I do, I wasn't trained. It just, it just started to cultivate over the years and start to kind of birth through me. And that's.
But if you think about it, the people that train people and things, probably came to experience things the way you're experiencing it, right? Yeah. Because at some point someone needs to be the one that gets the download, or already has that awakened universal consciousness, and then can be can share and teach or whatever. But to be trained in something, it's not the only way to have wisdom or knowledge of things.
No, and if I was to look at my path and I was to see how I developed, a lot of it was through my internal guidance and downloading that universal wisdom. I have a really, really strong connection to my light councils that I work with. I like to call them my family. They feel more like a family than what my birth family feels. And so whenever they give me the vision of like what is going to happen with humanity, it's whenever they come into complete connection and balance within themselves, and they know that they're not separated. They know that they're not actually separated from that God source, and what that stream of consciousness is flowing through them.
Yes.
Not restricted.
Yes.
And they say, like, I got navigated back to Ireland 3 years ago. And I remember I had my son also, he was 8 weeks old, and my previous relationship had fell apart once Oso came through, and I was sitting back in Belfast, which is the last place I wanted to be, and because life does that sometimes. And I remember sitting and I was like, why am I back here? Why am I back here? And they went, and my guides went, because Ireland holds some of the original codes of Atlantis, and this is what you're here to activate, and you're going to bring that consciousness through those ley lines, because you're going to navigate to different places around Ireland, and you're going to awaken those ley lines, and you're going to activate portals. And this is how Earth and New Earth is going to start birthing itself, because it's through those activations that light and those codes that come in through those ley lines that are literally going to waken humanity up. We're getting woke up from the inside, from the core of the earth out, as Gaia, she starts to birth back into herself, which is her original form. People say it's New Earth. It's not New Earth. It's whenever she goes back to her original form, because she was
original Earth instead of new.
It's that common thread that we all say, oh, it's going to be New Earth. It's not new at all. It's original. It's because she was always she was always a planet of high frequency. So
well, it might be a next level
because we don't really know what way this is going to go. And the way that I get things is, and I designed it this way, and of course there's a lot of us designed it this way, because that's how we get initiated into things. I get things little by little. Like, I'll never get the full picture until it's ready to materialize and I'm ready to anchor certain codes.
Yeah.
So I guess whenever you say, what does freedom look like? Freedom looks different to everyone. But
well, the things that you mentioned, like being connected to your own direct connection to God's source, right? Being free as a state of mind, which is not dependent on outer circumstances or that kind of thing. Yeah.
And of course we can step into that at any moment, can't we?
Yes.
This is what our inner guide says all the time.
Yeah.
You can step into that at any moment.
Yeah. And what you were sharing also about, once people are connected in that state, you have access to to the universal wisdom. You have access to the voice, you know, of your higher consciousness to receive that which you need, which is also freedom, because when we are disconnected, we are so dependent and searching on outer sources of information, and, you know, trying to learn something, thinking that we won't get somewhere or be able to be who we are unless we, you know, do this or have that or whatever. And then suddenly when we are in that connection, then everything is already, you know, here. Everything is complete, and there is no longer the need to even try to, you know, reach outside. And with outside, I also mean like outside of our own energy, outside of our own direct connection. Because for me also, when we talk about inside outside, if I'm focusing on the higher dimensions of my being, for me that is a feeling of this, you know, like I'm reaching out, but it's not outside because it's still within my being. When I go inside, I do not necessarily need to go like in my body or something, or within this space, you know. This to me is also inside. You know, and to know that you know, we have the ability to access all information from anywhere in the universe, and we assist each other, of course, you know, on that path. Every person, every being is so unique in their own way, you know. We get inspired by each other, you know. You may open worlds you know, that I did not know existed, and so, you know, so we inspire each other along the way by just being who we are.
Yeah, and that's so necessary, because the big word that like my guides give me for the start of this year was community. Start building the communities. And it's so like, you know, I know a lot of people would go, you know, they don't want to do certain courses and stuff because we're our own guru, and, you know, we don't need to learn all of this stuff. But like, and I've came across that the last few weeks regards to like who was going to sign up for my course and stuff.
Yeah.
And I really sat and I thought about this last night, and I was like, but they're missing the point. The point is, it's not about learning from me. It's about being a part of something that we're doing, that's bringing through to anchor onto this planet, so that it ripples through our whole female lineages. Sorry, there's my cat starting to go. She's feeling the energy.
Yes.
So it ripples through the female lineages. A lot of what's going to be cleared this year is our ancestral lines. That's a big thing now, because the energy that I've been working with from 2019 is the dragon lines, and they come in they've come in really strong for me, almost instantly. And it's to do with working with those ancestral lines and the ancient ley lines of Gaia, because whenever they're opened and they're activated, then we can return to the old ways. And whenever they talk to me about the old ways, and the star elders talk to me about the old ways, it's the old ways of community, of service, selfless service. We don't serve ourselves, we are of service to like humanity and our communities and to the people that we're around. And it's literally, we are the builders, and they're asking us to start dreaming in the new world. So this is it's very important that people gather now, and that they can feel within them, you know, they can feel within them the purpose of these gatherings and why we gather. You know, it's not really, yes, of course it's about them, and the point where they are receiving what they need, so they can step into their own leadership roles, and they can step into their own missions and their own purpose and activate within them their own codes of consciousness. But the bigger purpose is coming together
Yes.
to do the mission.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's both, you know, it's knowing that you have direct access to all that you need, but at the same time, from being in your own energy space connection, co-creating and connecting, you know, with each other, and empowering each other, and yes, creating that that community, instead of saying, no, I can do it all by myself, I don't need anyone, you know, the information that I get on my own is, you know, that's all there is. And but you know, I suppose it's important to go through a phase like that, where you really just only want to be in your own space and just have your own experiences and not mix with others or get any other information. You know, I think that's part of it too.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part. I definitely feel that you will always go through periods of solitary. I've done that through the whole 11 years that I've been like, you know, there's always been those periods of having to go within, but the big message that I got this year was community. Start gathering.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, you feel that that push, that calling, whatever it is, to now it's time to start to connect, you know, and share our true selves with each other.
Yeah, share the vision.
Beautiful. Yeah, and it's just a different, you know, it's a difference when you're in that space that, okay, I just want to go within and just be in my own energy. It's different than having the thought of you know, separating yourself from everyone else, or saying that it's not valuable or purposeful. Then you're just like, hey, you know, I just really need to be in my own space right now, and now I want to connect and share and be with others.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Thank you for that message and that invitation also, you know, to step out, to meet each other, to connect. Yes. Is there anything else besides that as a final message for?
It's like others? You know, people might be sitting in their houses and they might think, well, what can I do? Like, I don't, you know, I don't have a mission. It hasn't unfolded for me. I don't know what my purpose is. Everyone who is consciously working on themselves and consciously, step by step, opening themselves up, clearing, doing the healings, working internally on themselves, you know, are doing their part. Like, it's like, you know, I have women in my group that go, I don't know why I'm here, but I feel I need to be here. I says, you're here because you play a huge role. You mightn't think that you play a huge role, but you play a really big role in the greater part of what we're doing, you know. So yeah, like, my message is definitely don't play small, and don't think that you're not here to do something. That every single person that is on this planet right now is here to do something.
Yeah, and also not to compare, right?
No, definitely not. I mean, I went, you know, the first part of my awakening, I was comparing, because I was comparing myself to, like, well, why can't I get what they get? Or why am I getting all of this ET stuff and all of this galactic stuff, and I'm not talking to my granny and my granda, you know? So, you know, so it's like, we're all down here, we're all unique. Everyone has their own unique codes and their own unique way of bringing something through. Absolutely. There's no right or wrong. It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm going to repeat that. So, you know, because sometimes you just need to hear something again, so everyone can be reminded that they have their own unique codes.
Yeah.
And their own unique way of expressing that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much
for sharing your stories.
Yeah, it was wonderful to hear, you know, the parts of your journey and how that all went, and that transformation, you know, throughout your life, and that you're so, dedicated and passionate on your path right now. And thank you for sharing yourself, and see you soon.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
Okay. Have a beautiful day.
Bye.